Hey guys, it's Will from Tested. Boy, my camera's a little jacked up here. Let me work on that. It's time for No Jars Allowed. This is a regular video feature where I sit in front of the camera and I answer your questions from the Tested chat or from YouTube, it seems like now, until we run out of questions or until my mug, this is not a jar, it's a mug-shaped jar. It says on the bottom, this is very important, because no jars allowed. See right there, it says, not for home canning. You should know this. I'm going to get the settings for my control panel up. In the meantime, send some questions. If you're in the Tested chat, just at Will, the at sign, and then Will is really all, that's all you have to do. It's pretty simple. If you can work Twitter, you can work this. It looks like my exposure is all jacked up. Whoop, that's not right. Oh, God. This looks terrible. I spent so much time making this look nice. And then I made some poor decisions. And I adjusted things at the last minute that were probably a bad idea to adjust. And, here we are. Wow. I'm making this much worse instead of better. Actually, that's not too bad. I kind of look a little pasty, but whatever. I don't really care that much. I care that you guys have a nice experience, but that's the important part as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to jump right into the questions because they seem to be coming in. Wow, I can make myself really colorized there. That's not a good look for anyone. I think that's probably about. Does number 1 look better? Number 2 look better? Number 1 look better? Number 2 look better. That looks pretty good right there. We'll call that a day. I'm saving the settings. And I'm going to go to our first question. If audio is not good, send me a message. I will let you know. The first question is from Live for Laughs. Again, there's no jars allowed. Welcome if you're just joining us. I'm watching questions from YouTube over here and questions from Tested here, and Twitter and IRC are over there somewhere. So I've got more stuff going on than I can really keep up with in the real world. The first question is, Will, this is from Live for Laughs 76, who I assume is 1 year younger than I am. He says, what happened to the Still Untitled podcast? Is Adam just really busy? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Right now, I think the guys are on break. So they shoot about 45 weeks a year, which is a lot for a TV show. And then occasionally just everybody goes off and goes and walks the earth and does awesome stuff. So they've been off for the last few weeks. We usually do 2 or 3 episodes of Still Entitled at a time. So when we fall behind, that's it. We're out. So we ran out a couple weeks ago, and we'll be back. I know we're scheduled for not next Monday, but the Monday after next. So there'll be definitely one Tuesday the 30th. I'm not sure about next week. We're going to try to squeeze something in. Next question is from XCast. What has been your favorite part about partnering up with Adam and Jamie? That's a good question, XCast. The thing that's been good so far, the thing that's been best so far, I would say, is the opportunity to do stuff that we would never have been able to do before with the site. And I say this kind of a lot, but we never would have done the reactor thing. We never would have done the modernist, the food videos, whether with modernist cuisine or some other stuff that's coming up. All of that is awesome, and it's stuff that we were interested in before. So it's really cool to get to go and kind of just go explore and find cool stuff. And of course, Adam and Jamie are both pretty awesome. I mean, I'm about to go buy a welder as soon as my next expense check comes. So I never would have done that until Jamie said it was like a hot glue gun for metal. So there you go. Cell Shader wants to know, who do you miss more, Jeff or Ryan? That's like picking my children, which I don't have any kids, but I gotta assume picking kids would be like choosing between Jeff or Ryan. So, Jeff. Soto Saki wants to know, have you gotten a chance to play / mess around with the new XCOM game? What do you think of it? So, XCOM is one of those games. It's literally the first PC game I played in like the modern post 386 era. So I played a bunch of like microprose simulators in the mid 80s when I was late 80s when I was in high school, like M1 Tank Platoon and F-19 and that kind of stuff. And then I didn't have a PC for a couple of years that could play games. And when I went to college, I did the same thing happens to everybody, or at least before the internet, the same thing happened. Is you go to college, you just got a brand new computer or a relatively new computer to you, and there's a bunch of nerds on the floor, and everybody's playing different games, and you discover a dozen different games that you'd never heard of before. Because where I grew up, there wasn't a video game store, so the games that I had were either Nintendo games that I bought at like the local Kmart or Hills or whatever, or PC games that people had brought when I was like from DC or other places. So XCOM was one of those games that I saw right at the beginning. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. I want to learn how to control these little soldier guys. And then I died a lot, and I discovered Wolfenstein 3D, and I really never came back to it because it was a really hard game. The new one captures a lot, and I'm kind of joking because I did play it quite a bit, but I would never have considered myself good at it. The very first XCOM, not Terror of the Deep. The new one captures, like when I play the new one, it plays the way I remember the old one being in my head. So the old one, which and I don't mean that as a derisive statement. The old one, like I have really fond memories of the old one. The new one plays exactly like I remember the old one being, which means they've modernized that game in a very good way. They took out the stuff that sucked about early 90s game design that was awkward and difficult and hard to follow, and they replaced it but they kept the essence of the game, which is the important part. And the weird thing about that game is there's kind of two games. There's the kind of macro world politics stuff, which is a little bit thin in this version. I remember it being kind of thin in the old version, but it's actually the part that I like the best. And then there's the tactical turn-based stuff, which is infinitely better than it's ever been before. They do a really good job. I've actually been playing it in the living room on the couch with a gamepad, which I know the PC gamers are really pissed off at me now. But it's awesome. I can sit in the living room and play, and it is a fucking spectacular experience. So yeah, there we go. I really like it a lot. Is the TLDR for that, I guess. Actually, we take a YouTube question. We haven't taken one in a while. We have a bunch of product questions. Death Row 45 QC wants to know what's in your. This is a mug. It's not a jar. See, that was a trick question. You're trying to get me to say it's a jar, but this is very clearly a mug. Note the handle, which makes it a mug. So today I'm drinking ice water, a health kick, I guess. I was going to have a beer, but I had one earlier, and then I had another one earlier, so I thought maybe 3 was probably not a great idea, since I'm going to ask questions, and, it's nice to have a little filter is not a bad thing always. Wow. The Nick Fox on YouTube wants to know, is there some aspect of your nerdery that you haven't had a chance to show off untested yet? Man, that's a weird question. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've delved into a lot of the stuff that I'm into, like a lot of sciencey kids when I did model rocketry and butterfly stuff and collected insects and all that. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm looking around my desk to see if there's anything we're missing. I like to collect weird tools. I have this. This is you guys will like this. I just got this the other day. It's this badass wrecking bar. I haven't even taken the label off yet. It's a Dead On Tools. I don't know if it's any good or not, but it's called the Annihilator. So I just want to point out it has like a claw hammer on this end, so you can pull nails and stuff. But it also has a hammer, and then I don't understand. I think this part is hollow. It's like a survival wrench. You can straighten stuff with this, or you can also use it, I think, as a key for like turning off a gas line or something like that. And then on the other end, it has a spike, so you can use it as a tent pole or to split stuff. I think with a hammer, you can even use it as like a wedge if you have a sledgehammer or something like that. So I thought this was kind of cool. It was like $20 on Amazon. I buy a lot of dumb shit on Amazon, it turns out. There was last week's South Park was real good, also, on a semi-related note. There's a chisel. Oh, this ends for chiseling. It's for breaking apart concrete and stuff. So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Oh, and another hex wrench down here. I don't know how you would ever actually use that, but there you go. So this is called the Annihilator. It's the 14-inch utility wrecking bar, and I did not buy this on TV, but I guess I could have. I'm going to go over to Tested Chat again. Let's see. And we're going to come back to Pokekazai. Now, you can't, if you're going to give me a crazy username that I have to say, you got to at least give me a hint about how you pronounce that, because there's too many consonants in a row there for somebody from Northeast Tennessee to say. The question is, will Jamie have a bigger role on Tested next time he's not so busy? I understand he's probably super swamped currently. Jamie is a super busy dude, and the stuff that he likes to talk about doesn't lend itself to like the quick cut videos as much as, or the quick, easy to shoot videos as Adam does. Usually when we go over to Jamie's, we do 30 or 45 minutes or an hour for one 10 or 15 minute video, just because if we're showing welding, then we got to do some setup and takedown, and it's a little bit more involved than when it's just Adam and Norm or Adam and I kind of talking about some weird product, some weird awesome thing that he's made. So yeah, I don't, we would like to. The weird thing about it is we probably spend maybe 50% more time with Adam than we do with Jamie right now. And I mean, you guys see the amount of content that we get out of Jamie time versus Adam time. So I'm okay with the Jamie videos being real dense, things that we wouldn't kind of get elsewhere. So I want him to teach Norm how to weld. That's my next request for Jamie. Like literally have them both put on masks and have Norm get the welding gun and have Jamie get the welding gun and just see how it goes. See what happens. The next question is from Panic King. This is in the Tested Chat. He says, rumored iPad mini or 10-inch iPad? Which one should I ask Santa for as my first tablet? I think, since the iPad mini is imaginary, although we've seen today there were rumored pictures that looked pretty real. It depends on who's buying for you and what. Like I don't think there's anybody in my life that I would ask for a $500 tablet for Christmas. But, when I was a kid, that might have been different. Well, probably not when I was a kid. But anyway, and Santa, of course, is a completely different situation, because it's elf labor making those. I can't say. I have no idea. I mean, the 10-inch iPad is a real product. The 7-inch mini is something that's imaginary right now. So 10-inch iPad is the default. I don't know. Don't ask product questions about stuff that doesn't exist yet. NHL Maniac wants to know, will Chloe be dressing up for Halloween? If so, what will she be? I think my wife has bought a costume for her. I do not endorse or believe in costumes for dogs. I think that it's a little bit weird. But I think it has something to do with NFL, with football. So I'm sure there will be pictures. I'm going to go back over to YouTube chat and see what... Manhack Matt wants to know, what's your spirit animal? I've answered this before. It's an old question. But my spirit animal is the hippopotamus. Why? Because he's kind of big and cuddly. Looks like he'd be real friendly, but it's actually the most dangerous land animal in Africa. Kills more people every year than lions and hyenas combined. So, the hippopotamus. Tusks. Deadly tusks. And likes the water. So, I'm down with that too. There's tape on my desk for no reason here. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm going to go over here and ask one more question from YouTube. So Alex Rowe wants to know, what are my honest thoughts on the MakerBot and how it is to operate? I'm looking at getting one as my first 3D printer, I assume, and would like some more info about it. I assume you're talking about the new replicator, the metal frame one that's been somewhat controversial. The thing that MakerBot does really well is it's a product that if you want to print stuff, you can take it out of the box and turn it on, and maybe 2 hours later have a reasonably good looking print, and a couple of days after that have something that looks awesome. There are other competitors out there, so I would definitely, especially if you're not sure it's something you're going to be able to use, you should really do some homework. We haven't tested all of them just because they're really expensive and I don't want to pay for all of them. But there are a handful of printers in the sub $1,000 range that are good kind of training wheels printers, if nothing else, to let you know if this is going to be something you're able to get usefulness out of. I can't remember what one is called, the Ultimate Bot. There's a lot of RepRap. RepRap is they design parts with the goal of being able to 3D print a 3D printer, so you can make infinite printers, von Neumann machines kind of, but minus the electronics and motors, at least for now. There's a lot of RepRap based printers using like raw stock designs and stuff like that are really inexpensive, especially if you have a friend that has a 3D printer or have access to someplace like Tech Shop or something like that, or just want to order parts online and put it together yourself. Now, the problem with a lot of that stuff is it ends up being more of a kit, like more of something that you kind of spend time futzing with to get it working the way you want it to work, rather than actually printing stuff. So if you want to print stuff, get something that's off the shelf. You're going to spend $2,000, $2,300, $2,500. I would look at the Form 1 if it's in the timeline that you want, and your $3,000 doesn't sound like too much money to you. That thing is amazing if you don't need to build structural stuff that's going to hold up to, somebody standing on it, basically. The Replicator, from what I've seen, is really good. It's essentially the same print head as the Replicator 1 on the Replicator 2. The software is tuned a little bit differently, but I mean, I've been able to print stuff with our Replicator 1 that's the same layer height as on the Replicator 2. So, I mean, you might also be able to find a good deal on a Replicator 1 or even a Thing-O-Matic, although I would look at, I would not go back up to the big filament size at this point, because I think that's going to be hard to find before too much longer. The other thing is PLA seems to be a lot easier to print with. Most of the problems I've had with printing have always been because of uneven cooling, so the edges warp up, and you end up with a kind of rocker, a model that kind of rocks back and forth. PLA doesn't warp at all, hardly, from the tests that I've done so far. I've printed probably a half dozen things at this point with PLA, and it is much, much easier to use once you figure out how to get it to adhere to your surface. And that basically just means you have to have a good, clean surface, whether it's capped on tape that's heated or blue painter's tape or something else. So you should read a lot more before you just jump into a MakerBot, because it's at the high end of that kind of enthusiast market. I'm just going up the list, picking out interesting questions. ChickDigger802 wants to know, Will, having owned every iPhone, would you recommend sane people with 2-year contracts stay on the new casing route or the S route, which usually addresses all the issues with the previous year's phone? So what you're asking is, should you have bought the iPhone 4 or the iPhone 4S? I really don't think it matters. I mean, you buy when you need a phone, buy the phone, and if the new one comes out and you don't need a new phone, don't buy a new phone. I mean, we buy new phones because it's the only way for us to get reviews and to be able to test the phones. I would not buy a new phone every year if it weren't for the website. It is expensive and dumb. If you are buying the new phone every year, don't do the thing where they give you the mid-year discount in exchange for extending your contract another 2 years. It ends up being really expensive, and it makes it really hard for you to switch carriers, which of course is what AT&T wants you to do. So there you go. Live for Laughs 76 wants to know, will we ever get App of the Day back? I don't know if we're going to go back to App of the Day, but we are going to do more app stuff. We just set up the TriCaster. Joey's got that stuff working pretty well now. We've refigured out how to capture AirPlay streamed from iPad and iPhone. I think we can capture from the Nexus 7 now, which is awesome. So we may not do App of the Day. We will probably do one app a week that we really, really like a lot, unless people really complain, and maybe we'll do 2 or 3. But I kind of would rather do one thing that's really awesome than kind of have to fill a content bucket every day with stuff that I don't think the App Store can support one awesome thing a day at this point, even if you go to Android and all the other stuff that's available. So there we go. I'm going to go back over to the YouTube questions. Boy, I'm liking a lot of 3D printer questions here. I'm not going to hit that too hard. If you have 3D printer questions, post them in the forums, and I'll answer them there. And there's other people there that have 3D printers that do that stuff. So there you go. Commander ZX2 wants to know, what do you think about the records, like the highest/fastest free fall that Felix Baumgartner got on Sunday. Should these be given to a single person when it is the technology making it possible and anyone could do it in his place? I would strongly disagree that anyone could do that in his place. It looks pretty easy, but if you look at if you watch that video live and you saw him spinning at high altitude where he was just turning at what looked like a terrifying rate, I think you have to be in. From what I know about high G forces, you'd have to be in really good shape to withstand that and not lose consciousness or red out or whatever. So I think that also being able to like mentally get yourself to a place that you can step out of off of a platform. I mean, okay, let's take a step back. Mentally getting yourself to a place so you could open the door of a capsule at 100,000 feet is impressive. Putting your legs out of the door and then standing up on a little plank that's like that big around when you're wearing these big clunky boots also is impressive. I think that a normal person might be able to open the door and maybe dangle their feet out, but it came to the point that you had to like hoist yourself up and like plant your feet on the board. I don't think most people could do that. So I would disagree. And I mean, this whole, is it a team, is it an individual thing comes up a lot. When we were talking to John Collins, who's the paper airplane guy, he told us that there was a lot of controversy because previously in competitive paper airplane circles, the record holders both folded and threw their own planes. So when he brought in a football quarterback to do the throw, somebody with an amazing arm and the ability to really precisely repeat over and over and over again the throw, there was a lot of controversy. And I think that's totally fine. I think that, most stuff, if you're going outside of the 100-meter dash, if you're going to be the world's best at something, nobody does that in a vacuum. And even Usain Bolt has a team and coaches and God, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but sponsors and you can provide equipment and training facilities and stuff like that. So I think it's okay. And yes, his chute would automatically open, but that is a safety thing, not to make him, if he had been spinning when the chute opened, the chute would have wrapped around him just like it did Kittinger in the 60s. And, he would have had to hopefully regain consciousness before he pancaked into the earth. So, yeah, I mean, things look easy and safe, but they aren't. And that was a real, it was a publicity stunt and it was a dumb thing sponsored by a stupid energy drink manufacturer. But it was a dangerous thing that he did. And I mean, I don't know what the long-term value to humanity is for it, but it was cool, and I was entertained on Sunday morning, so there you go. I'm going to go back over to YouTube for more questions, then I'll come back to Tested Chat. Swiffle1K wants to know, have you ever bought glasses online? If not, where do you get them? There's a great place in San Francisco called Glitter Optics. It has a real weird name. But it's down by Union Square, and it's right by my old office. So I bought glasses there for years now. Norm, I know, has bought some glasses online and quite likes it. The difference is I buy one pair of glasses every year or two, or maybe three, depending on how well they hold up. And his cost, I think, $90. So, I don't want to rat Norm out, but I think his glasses are super cool. And the only reason I go to the real place is that I have kind of a tricky prescription, and if the center of the lens isn't aligned right, then I'll get cross-eyed and barf all over the place, which really wouldn't be good for anybody. So, yeah, there you go. That's where I get my glasses, Glitter Optics. I'm going to go back over here to Tested Chat. I don't know anything about the new Astro A40 headset, Civi. I'm sorry. The ones that I have on my desk I bought, and they are awesome. I really like them. The Logitech G9 series is great, too. If you are happy with the ones you have, don't get a new one. If you need new ones or the old one's broke, buy a new headset. Don't just buy stuff for the sake of a 4% upgrade. That's always what I say, though. I Can Swim wants to know, hey, Will, any chance you guys will get Patrick in to help him build a gaming PC? We would totally help him. I will send him a note tomorrow. I didn't know he was in the market for building a gaming PC. That is something we need to do another stream. We haven't done one in more than a year, and it's time. So maybe we can do some sort of cross-promotional weirdness, and it'll be like Cards Against Humanity, the Giant Bomb edition, but with less dick jokes, I hope. Matthew wants to know, do you have any upcoming features a la Bricked, where both the creator and consumer of video are in it for the long haul? Bricked was great, but it took a lot of time and energy and people to make happen. So while I would love to do something like that again, I think if we do something that's a recurring feature, it probably won't be daily, just because we only have Joey right now, and that would be a lot of work for Joey, and would mean that we basically wouldn't do anything else. And the other one would be, the other reason is that we don't have that much slack time anymore, because we're traveling a lot more. So it would be a lot harder for us to find a month or two to do that. What we will do is do more recurring how-to features like the third-person camera, hopefully that are more in-depth and require a little bit more planning and thought, stuff like that. I have something already working. I'm already working on something right now and kind of speccing stuff out. And once this is a more involved build, so what we'll do is document the build rather than document the whole process of picking out parts and stuff like that. I'm excited about that, but it won't be a daily piece of content. We don't have the people to do that. Cusa wants to know, if given the opportunity, would you go on tabletop for some tabletop gaming with Will Wheaton? I love Will Wheaton and I love tabletop gaming. There you go. Yes, why not? Are you asking? Are you a producer? That's weird. Robbie Green, I'm glad you said. So they're still playing the tested video on the tour. That's awesome. I think Jamie and Adam were in Orlando last weekend. So apparently, if you go see Jamie and Adam on the Mythbusters tour, Behind the Myths tour, then they play the tested video where Norm and I introduce ourselves and say, "Hey, I'm Will from Tested. I'm Norm from Tested," which is still super weird for me. I don't know. That's bizarre. EXCast wants to know, do you expect to have any of the Giant Bomb guys on Octobercast? Yes. Yes, I do. Going back over to YouTube for a second. I am not going to try to juggle some things right now, Nick Fox. I don't have any things to juggle. And also, this is a webcam, so it would look really bad. But there will be juggling on the site very soon. Very soon. Paul Tobia wants to know, how are you live streaming on YouTube? Are you on a Hangout live on air? No, we have the YouTube powers now, so we can stream on YouTube. It's only 360p, but we're testing stuff out for, in case we wanted to do something live in the not too distant future. The future. Moffatron 9000 wants to know, what are your rules on kickstarting things? This is a conversation my wife and I had the other day. I kickstart a lot of stuff. A lot of it we do for work because it's the easiest way to make sure we get early access to something that is new, like the Meta Watch or Pebble. We didn't kickstart Pebble because I'm a dumbass, but smart things, those plugs that you can plug things in and make them internet connected, or those cool Wi-Fi LED light bulbs. So we kickstarted a lot of that stuff for the site. Personally, it seems like most of what I kickstarter is board game related. I kickstarted the Helvetica's game. Zach, I can't remember what his name is, so I feel like an asshole. Guts of Glory. So I pre-ordered a copy of that. I did the Kickstarter of that Catan board. Because the reason I don't play Catan, this is really lame, but it's the reason these people looked deep into my soul and found something that really dissatisfies me. Leaves me dissatisfied, I guess. And it's that when you put together the cheap cardboard Catan board, as soon as you get everything laid out and it's all in the nice grid, one of those pieces of cardboard snaps up and then everything is just a little bit out of alignment. And that makes me really unhappy. So these guys have made a Kickstarter, and I think it's still open, so you can sign on now if you want that. But basically, it's a plastic grid for the tiles, and you supply your own little houses and roads and cards and stuff like that. But basically, you can play Catan, and the pieces don't move. It's awesome. Brilliant. They should have done this. And I know you can buy actual official Catan sets that do that, but either the kind of sculpted one from the 10th anniversary, I guess, was crazy expensive. When it was new, it was like $250, and now they're selling on eBay for $1,500 or something ridiculous. And the 15th anniversary one, which is out now, is wood, which is great, but it's also $125, and I don't like Catan that much. So this is $35. It's plastic. It's exactly what I wanted. It's for the four-player game, and I think it works with a couple of the expansions, but not the Seafarers one, which I've never played anyway, so that's fine. I thought it was really cool. Really like it a lot. I'm going back over to the tested chat, and Matthew wants to know what lessons do we learn from last year's Octobercast? What are you going to change from last year to help your well-being? Looks like we're about 2/3, by the way. To help my well-being, I probably wouldn't have done Octobercast again. We have a lot of good stuff planned. The main thing I want to do is raise more money. So we're going to remind people that is a thing that we're doing more often. We're going to run multiple cameras this year, like actual real multiple cameras instead of just like a webcam and a second camera. We're doing some different stuff on the audio side. I think we're still going to use Mixlr, so that if you want to stream, then you can do that. And even if you're not on your phone, if we figured out some other YouTube style video streaming solution, we might use that. I don't know. There's a lot of good stuff coming for Octobercast. We have some event stuff. We have some stuff we're probably going to do some. I don't want to tease too much. We might do some auctions. I don't know if that sounds like something interesting. So in exchange for a donation of X amount, which we can verify by checking your email address and all that stuff, we have some, I think, pretty awesome stuff being donated. So that's cool. And we're going to do some stupid stuff. So if you want to get something, stickers, or if you want to get something signed, then for a donation, and us, we'll do something stupid for you. So we got a lot of stuff planned. I'm really excited about it, even though I can't believe we're starting at 6 p.m. I think that's ridiculous, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun regardless. And yes, there will be Mad Libs. Star Fury Dyson, sorry. Zaf wants to know, is there any more chance of more interesting food content like the Modern Cuisine stuff? We definitely want to do more food stuff. Adam has a lot of friends who are chefs. We've been talking to people at publications that I deeply respect and have really enjoyed for a long time. The Top Chef Masters winner is a San Francisco chef. I've eaten at his restaurant a bunch. It's great. There's a place in the Ferry Building that is also his, where you can go get a cone that's filled with sliced meat, and it is awesome. It's literally it's like an ice cream cone of prosciutto or some. It's just, you should go there. It's called Bacaloni. It's in the Ferry Building in San Francisco. If you come here, it's my favorite thing. So we'll do more food stuff. We're looking for the right opportunities, and we've had a lot of between Maker Faire and the New York trip, and like Deja Molinar and a bunch of other people we've seen, and some stuff that we've shot ages ago and you guys haven't even seen yet. We've had a lot of really interesting people who've just made cool stuff to talk to. So we'll definitely do some more food stuff though as soon as we get the right opportunity. I'm gonna go up. In fact, actually, this next question from Jimmy1P says, I'm designing a carbon fiber back for my wheelchair. I cut 3 pieces of carbon fiber and used 140-degree brackets to put them together. Now I have a slot on the outside wanting to put LEDs in there. What type should I get? So if you go to, I want to say SparkFun, they sell a whole bunch of like strip LEDs that you can just get on a roll, and they have like adhesive backs. The LEDs are going out. You're probably going to want to put like some sort of lens over them or something. You might put them inside. I think you can also get the rope kind, where the LEDs are in the rope, and you can get them so they're programmable. So you can hook them up to like an Arduino and vary you could do all sorts of crazy stuff. So you could do something like hook a motion sensor inside one of the wheel edges where it won't touch the wheel but just sees the wheel moving, and or figure out how would you measure RPMs? I don't know. You could figure out a way to measure RPMs on the axle of the wheel, and then have the LEDs change color as you're going faster, or do program patterns, and you can control it with your phone if you set it up right. So I would say go to SparkFun and see what they have in the LED section. They have some crazy stuff there, and a lot of it's really good. So there you go, Jimmy1P. We're also going to talk to some carbon fiber guys in the not too distant future, I hope, and they're going to teach us how to rove carbon fiber to join 2 pieces of things together in an incredibly strong way, without spending a whole lot of money on it. So I am super excited about that as well. I'm going over to the YouTube channel again, and I'm going to ask, Wacky Jackie wants to know, are you ever going to do teardown videos again? Well, I have an idea for a teardown video that I want to do in the not too distant future. I don't want to talk about that right now. If you have stuff you want to see us tear down, send it to tips@tested.com, and we'll take it apart. I have a 3DS sitting on my desk. I think we already did the Vita, right? I don't like doing stuff that's on contract, so like I would be hesitant to do my iPhone just because it would be a real hassle for me to expense that, and then there's potential bad things can happen there. But yeah, send us pitches for stuff that you want torn down. Somebody asked if we're going to the Windows 8 launch event in New York. We are not, because it's the day before Octobercast, and there would be no way for us to get back. And also, that would be really terrible, flying back from the East Coast right before you do a 24-hour live show. Also, it's just a press conference, so I mean, if I was in New York, I would totally go. It's not worth spending a bunch of money and time flying across the country for Steve Ballmer and Snofsky to stand up on stage, hold up boxes of Windows 8, and be like, "Hey, it's live!" when I'm running it on the computer that I'm streaming from right now. So, like, the problem, this is the unfortunate thing that Microsoft has to do by releasing Windows 8 early to TechNet and MSDN subscribers, is we all know the story by the time the big official launch happens. So, yeah. I'm going back up. Oh, here's a good question from the Nick Fox on YouTube. He says, if one had an idea for a series for Tested, could one, whoever that may be, submit a pilot for consideration somehow? Or are there reasons why you would advise against that? It depends on what you want to do. If you think it's a pilot for you, then we should probably have an email conversation. If you think it's something that we should do, that you just think is an awesome idea and you'd like to see what we make of it, send an email with the whole thing. If you want to pitch your show to our channel, we're open to that kind of stuff. So I have to talk to our attorneys and make sure there's no reason I couldn't talk to people about that. But I think we're cool with that. Send me an email and we'll talk about it. It's will@tested.com. And don't give me the idea. Let me talk to the lawyers tomorrow and I'll find out. Fluoro Milk in the Tested chat wants to know, would you shave your beard for charity? It depends. It takes about 3 weeks to grow back and look normal. I look like a hobo for the first week, and then I look like a bum for the second week. So it would have to be a lot of money. But yeah, Octobercast is just around the corner, so save your nickels. Swim says, today starts Microsoft's Big October with the Xbox dashboard relief. What do you think Microsoft's chances of success are with their refreshed ecosystem? I think that's a really complex question. Hold on a sec. That was good. I think that some of the stuff's going to go well and some of it probably not so much. I'm not real optimistic about the Windows 8 launch. I think that normal people are really not going to like that OS on their desktop computers and their laptops. I think it's awesome for everything I've seen makes me think it should be awesome for touch. I haven't actually used it on a touch device yet. I'm not real confident that people are going to embrace Metro, and it's kind of an impediment to getting things done. It's just unnecessary. It's not even an impediment. It's just unnecessary. So we talked about this a bunch on the last one. I don't want to jump into that again. We've talked about Windows 8 to death at this point. So it'll be out in a couple of weeks, and you can test it yourself. I haven't used the Xbox dashboard update. I'll update my dashboard and look at that. They usually brief us about that, and I think we missed them this year. Juggle Mank says, and I think Windows Phone 8 looks awesome. I think if they don't get people to buy into it in a fairly significant way, then I think that their chances with that have more to do with how Verizon and AT&T and the other carriers market the phones than what they've actually done. Because what they've built is entirely competent, and it's out of their hands at this point. The only thing they could do to help is get more top-notch apps on the Surface, and they absolutely are trying to do that. It's kind of a tough sell if you're looking at 40% of the market with iOS and 55% of the market with Android, and that 5% is BlackBerry and Windows Phone 7 and a bunch of other stuff. And if you can get 95% of the market by doing two things, why would you do? They're going to have to spend money to get people to do the third. Jugglemank says, after browsing our Build a PC and watching, I guess it's Reddit's Build a PC site, and watching past tested computer building videos, the really early one, Gary's and Jeff's, in the past week or so, I've got the itch to build a new PC. What should I look for in a motherboard? There are so many options. Go to someone who reviews a whole bunch of motherboard and ask them. My general guidelines are that you don't want to buy, unless you're going to overclock, there's no reason to spend money on the crazy high-end options, because they provide all sorts of voltage control and stuff like that if you're just running at stock speeds, you don't need. I don't think there's a whole lot of reason to overclock these days, at least for the type of computing I do. Much rather have something that's quiet and reliable than really, really fast, or 15% faster, 20% faster, and kind of janky. A lot of what you choose depends on what CPU you want. So, because if you're buying a triple channel CPU, then you're really limited in what you can do on the motherboard front, because there just aren't as many of those boards. Going back up the channel, scrolling up. I'm sorry, I'm just looking for, there's a ton of questions here, and I don't have a whole lot of time left, so I'm kind of cherry picking good ones at this point. Or the best ones, not that they aren't all good. Jeez. Vincent Longa says, moving into a house from an apartment soon, realize I can finally build a MAME cabinet. Any suggestions? Point me in the right direction. Re-asking, I didn't at you the first time. Okay, that's fine. MAME cabinets are fun. The thing you need to do is figure out what kind of games you like. So if you like classic arcade games that are vertical, like Donkey Kong and Galaga and Pac-Man and all that stuff, then that's going to inform your decision, both on the controls and the kind of cabinet you're going to get, and all sorts of other stuff. If you like playing a lot of side stuff, like fighting games and those mid-90s brawlers that we all think are awesome until we play them again, like Simpsons and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and X-Men and all that, and then you play them and you realize that it was just a quarter-eating machine, and if you don't have to put the quarters in, it's actually substantially less fun, and you can beat the whole game in like 35 minutes. And so anyway, or do you want to play weird stuff like 720, which is basically impossible because you can't get the right controller for it. If I were building, so you have to decide what kind of games you want to play. I would say pick 5 or 10 games that you want to be awesome on your main cabinet, and then tune the cabinet for those. And if anything else happens to work, that's great. But at least you have the 10 games that you love the most, and they're all fantastic. Don't do that thing that's really tempting where you're like, oh my god, it has the software to play every game ever, so I should put every single controller ever imagined on here. And then you have like a spinning thing on the front with a pole position wheel, and it also has a hard drive and shifter, and then you can spin that around, and it's 2 joysticks for fighting games, and then you spin it around again, it's a Neo Geo layout for no apparent reason. Don't do that. That's real bad. Like if I were building a machine for me, what I would do right now is build a cocktail with just 2 sides, and one side would have normal, like probably 4 buttons, just in case there's some weird thing that I haven't thought about that needs 4 buttons instead of just 2 for play. And it would have a 4-way, 8-way convertible joystick. And I know they're not very good, but I don't care because a lot of the games that I play are 4-way, and a lot of the games I want to play are 8-way. And then the other side would have a Tempest spinner and a centipede, a big giant centipede trackball, and a couple of buttons. And I would forsake the ability to do the cool flip thing that everybody loves about cocktails, where player 1 is on one side and player 2 is on the other. You don't have to move for having awesome controls for 4 or 8 of my, because my games are Galaga and Donkey Kong and Tempest and Centipede, well, Millipede and Centipede really, and Miss Pac-Man. And I would be really stoked with a machine that had those 5 or 6 games. So, and I think, then you have to think about monitors. It's tricky. A lot of people are doing LCD monitors now and say that they're just fine, especially if you do kind of the weird, you can do kind of weird emulation of the CRT effects. I haven't actually seen that in person. I think Jeff put an LCD in one of his arcade machines a few weeks ago. I got to ask him how that went. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. That's what I would say. Think about what games you want to play, and then make it awesome for those 5 or 6 games. Yeah, Vincent, every time I say in the not too distant future, the Mystery Science Theater 3000 song plays in my head too. Star Fury. Hold on, I'm gonna go back over to YouTube. I haven't done any YouTube comments in a little bit. Oh yeah, and MAME Cabinet. This is important. MAME Cabinet is a thing that plays arcade games from throughout the ages. MAME stands for Multi Arcade Machine Emulator, I think. So basically, it's a little questionable because it's difficult to get legal sources of the ROMs. I don't want to get into that. If you want to really cover your bases, you can go on eBay and buy boards for a lot of the more common games relatively inexpensively. And then you have a theoretically legal ROM, and you can go find your other ROMs in wherever. Star Fury Dyson says, as a person with a science degree, I like the site having more science news, but how do you balance the news from being too over the heads of regular Joes visiting the site? That's something we've always had to do. It's always a problem when you write about stuff that a lot of people may not know about, whether it's technology with phones and tablets and PCs and video cards and hard drives and motherboards, or the latest news about the planet, 4-sun solar system with a planet. That's crazy. I can't imagine. That planet must be a living hell most of the time, or the most beautiful place in the galaxy. So the trick is always providing, when you're writing for people that may or may not be informed about the topic, you assume that if they're reading what you're writing, then they probably care, which helps. They want to learn more, and you make sure you give plenty of context. So, instead of just saying, "Hey, we're building a MAME machine. Here's what we're going to put in it," you say, "Hey, we're building a MAME machine. Here's what MAME is. Here's why you might want it. Here's why it's kind of cool, and then here's what the parts are." So it's just context. It's what writers do. It's what you do if you're a good editor, basically. So, and that's it. I'm going up. Jimmy 1P wants to know, did I get or am I going to get J.K. Rowling's new book, The Casual Vacancy? I just got it tonight. I haven't gotten it yet. It seems like it might be a little bit outside of my normal reading pattern. And the backlog on my reading list right now is pretty ridiculous because I've got a Doctorow novel, a Charles Stross book, I think they both wrote that together, actually. I've got an Ian Banks novel. I've got a couple of nonfiction books. I'm literally like 2 pages from finishing Cloud Atlas. I've got the guy who wrote The Quantum Thief wrote a new book. The guy who wrote The Wind-Up Girl wrote a new book. I want to read both of those. So there's a ton of stuff cooking right now. So I am not adding more stuff to the reading list right now. So I'm optimistic that I will get through my backlog over the Christmas time period. I'm going back over to YouTube for a minute. Nifty 50 Photo says, "Hey, I'm going to ask this until you answer respectfully. Will any of you all be at Robo Games?" Just saying it like five. It's like 5 of us asking the same questions. So I don't know when Robo Games are or where they're at, but I would like to go to Robo Games. It seems like that would be really fun. I've seen videos from there before. So yeah, I'll look it up and figure that out. The problem we're having right now on YouTube comments is that I can't make them stop scrolling. So every time somebody updates, it goes back to the top. So I can't keep my place like I can on the tested chat. So I apologize. I hope I'll be able to figure out a better way to do this on the YouTube side in the future. I'm scrolling back through the list here for a little bit. See if there's anything good. Mr. Kelsomatic asks, have I seen the leaked possible LG Nexus phone? I'm the allure of the Nexus phones is typically that they have the raw software and the software is unadulterated. I don't know. I mean, I don't talk about rumors, so. I think that's probably it. It looks like we're almost out of questions. Wait. Oh yeah, strangely, I did just pick up the Humble Bundle. So if you are interested in science fiction at all, there is a great thing every year. Well, it's new this year, but they do it for video games a lot. Called the Humble ebook bundle, and basically for what you name your price, but between $10 and $20, you can get I think 6 books for that price, or you can pay nothing and get 4 books or 8. I can't remember. Just go to humblebundle.com. It's on the homepage right now there. Yeah, I quite like it. I had already bought a couple of those books, unfortunately, on Amazon, so I had a couple of free ebooks to give to friends. So that was nice too. Let's see. Meatsack wants to know, hey, Will, in one of your still untitled podcasts, you and Adam talked about maybe setting up an agnostic scouting movement without the prejudices of the other scouting organizations. Are there any new developments about this? Any way we can help? Maggie Kurth-Baker on Boing Boing has been doing a great job kind of keeping people aware of that stuff. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to it. I know that the Maker Scouts has an organization and has a website, and there's some content there. I can't tell how often it's updated. I unfortunately have not had any time to look at that, so I apologize. Let's see, and then let's do blast me like 2 or 3 more questions, and I will pick out maybe 3 or 4 more and drink some water while I'm waiting for questions. Oh wait, I did some stuff. Look. Yeah, look at that. Look at what we can do now. It's bananas. I have another one too. I don't think you can read that because the resolution's so low. Hold on, I can do hard cuts, or I can do a smooth dissolve. Yeah. I should get a second camera so it's not just 2 of the same shot, because that's kind of weird, I guess. This is YouTube, so I feel like this should be a hard cut situation. Going back up here to tested chat. Let's see. Invader House wants to know, are Octobercast donations tax deductible? We're using the same service that we used last year for the it's essentially a tip jar. So the way it works is it sends money directly to the PayPal account. I believe that you get a receipt that makes it tax deductible. I would have to check to be sure. I talked about this last year in last year's Octobercast post. So if you search for Octobercast, it'll take you to last year's page. I'm going to put something up tomorrow, so assuming everything goes well, like a real post up tomorrow explaining all of that stuff as well. So I'm pretty sure they're tax deductible, but go check to be sure. Chick Diggler 802 says, oh, he uses the G word. I'm going to answer the question anyway. Any must-have gadgets left for the rest of the year? I don't know. This was kind of a slow year for me. I mean, I bought a bunch of stuff, but I didn't really need any of it. I'm after seeing the Kindle HD, the 7-inch one, I'm really interested to see what Amazon does with a 9-inch tablet with the 8.9. I'm also really interested in Surface. I don't think I'd call either of those must-have, and I definitely wouldn't call them gadgets. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty much out. I can't think of anything else huge. I'm sure I'm missing something obvious and enormous and super. Oh, Wii U comes out. I am kind of excited about that, but I don't think I'm going to buy one. I didn't get a pre-order in time, unfortunately. So yeah, that's where I'm at with gadgets for the rest of the year. Civi wants to know, would you attempt to get Joey or Norm to do one of these? I will attempt to get Joey or Norm to do one of these. I don't know if they will. Let's see. Going back over to the other side. I'm looking at YouTube's. This is getting very inside the actor's studio over here. If you watch any of our content, you know what my favorite curse word is, the Nick Fox. Komodo-mon wants to know, this is a good question. So how happy have you been with the site thus far? Anything you would have liked to change or do over? I'm honestly, I mean, the site redesign was a little rocky at first. We're getting real close to something that I can talk about maybe next time we do this. May even be done by the next time we do this. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm really happy with the content, and we're making the site better every day. So that's what I would say. I'm hoping that we'll get some stuff up next week that'll be really exciting for everyone involved. But I don't know. Fingers crossed. So I guess that'll do it for us today. Looking at Oculus Rift. I am pretty excited about Oculus Rift, Xantar. So that'll do it for No Jars Allowed. I gotta drink some more water. I think I'm out of questions though, more than out of water. And it's getting really hot in this room. I'm starting to get sweaty and red. I will see you guys next time. We'll be on the podcast on Thursday. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.